Today, I'm going to be attempting a feat that is going to turn the challenge run meta on its head. A challenge that is so stupid, so wildly unnecessary, such a pointless waste of time that XQC is the only one to have accomplished it in real life. But since I'm not likely to succeed in competing against the huge streamers in the real world, I'll be evening the odds by doing it in Streamer Life Simulator 2. And now, we're going to find out if you can go from being a brand new streamer with a potato for a computer to a lavish lifestyle with tens of thousands of followers in just 30 days. Can it be done? Well, I'm gonna wade through the world of microwave diarrhea that is being an unknown streamer and see if I can become the fastest growing streamer on Twitch.
Did I just drink that dude's butt water?
To start streaming, we're gonna need some hardware. It's at this time the game prompts us to just go ahead and steal it. And since I'm an ambitious go-getter, I steal all the money lying around for a good head start as well. From there, I find the office that our stolen goods are hiding in. So I do my best not to think about why the keyboard is unusually sticky and tuck our new streaming hardware away before riding off in our last new asset in the form of some small child's bicycle. Ooh, a bike. Is this my bike? On our way home, we unlock our first #support small streamers achievement in the form of slowly starving before we eventually arrive at what will serve as our base of operations, and good God. In what looked to be an Airbnb that P. Diddy and Leatherface used as a place to throw parties together, the state of our home really only leaves us with one option.
Get a broom and sweep up.
Where do I shower? There's no bathroom even. No wonder this place is filthy. Through the magic of editing, the place is finally clean in no less than 15 seconds, and we're finally able to begin organizing our space. God damn it. Just a few more minutes gets the computer and the desk all set up, and our stolen rig is ready for our first ever stream. Now at this point, it's probably worth mentioning that this setup is not the most stable way you could go about this. But as I sat down at my command center for the first time to take a look at the specs, it wasn't good. In fact, if Streamer Life Simulator 2 was a game we could buy in the game, our current TI-89 dressed up to look like a computer couldn't even run it. So, knowing we were in for a rough time, I downloaded the similar but legally distinct versions of OBS and Steam and purchased the only two games available on the market. The first, a precision shooter that was likely to have a thriving esports scene I'd never be able to participate in, and the other, a mobile game that you'd see during an ad break, in a different mobile game. I register an account through the knockoff Twitch, and for the first time, I decide to go live, and it is exactly how you'd expect most people's first stream to go. It turns out that despite setting the stream to the same resolution of an early 90s movie, this level of output was simply too much to ask of my ill-gotten technology. However, to fix the issue, I just had to add some more bandwidth. So I made a quick trip to the pawn shop to buy an upgraded router, added to my future debt by upgrading my internet, and after some tweaking and adjustments, I was able to get the stream somewhat stable and was finally ready to play. That's not a bad place to start. I also bought the cheapest mic I could afford while I was waiting for my new game to download, and sat down to watch it finish, ready to do my actual first stream. Are you kidding me? The fuck is this? Oh my god. Day one didn't really go my way, so I'd have a lot of ground to make up. Day 2 started with me waking up to find out that all my character had eaten before starting this streaming journey was $1 menu Taco Bell. So before diving into my actual first stream, I tidied up the place a bit and then set out to show my 2 viewers that I was MLG quality. Deathmatch team. So yeah, that didn't work either. So I downloaded the only game I was actually able to play, and without going into too much detail, this is essentially what the first few hours of my time in game would look like. Not now, of course, but soon. That's what it will look like. As it turns out, my rise to the top of the summit is actually being impeded by the streaming elite as a way to protect the reaction video meta. So as soon as I tried to play a game while I was streaming, so I downloaded the antivirus software I skipped early on, added HackerMan to the payroll, and killed their virus in its tracks. From there, it was right back to the grind, and just shy of the 30 follower milestone, I also saw another important step forward in the form of my first dono. Only shortly thereafter, I would once again be cut tragically short, as I was apparently playing a streamer who would simply pass out at a moment's notice, even if I was live in the middle of a stream. When checking my emails, I discovered that I had been offered a sponsorship opportunity. Days 3, 4, and 5 are more or less the same, and I spend half my time streaming and the other half trying to stream. But while there isn't anything overly exciting about this process by itself, I do continue to take in additional donations and clip past 200 followers. With Brain Rot Clicker being the only game I can play, I also have to assume that all 200 of them are Zoomers. And if that isn't bad enough, I'm dirty, sick, hungry, tired, poor, and I haven't taken a piss in 5 days. So in a lot of ways, it's almost like the legit streaming experience. Before long, I'd finally saved up enough to get the extra RAM I needed, and it was time to up my gameplay value by jumping into CS No. Tomorrow. It would be time to jump into it tomorrow. When I finally got it running, it was beautiful. 15 frames per second, 480p.
16 times the detail.
Enhance. I'm not even ashamed to say it. I went ham on this. No, wait, this game sucks too.
Right hand on the Bible, God can strike me down if I'm lying? That motherfucker's cheating!
So while I was glad to be done with Mouse Click Simulator, CS Clone would eventually prove to be a drag and grind pretty quickly as well. But as each day passed, my follower count continued to grow, even despite what I might describe as questionable UI design. Oh, what the fuck?
This is so dumb!
But in addition to followers, I also gained plenty of new donos and was very slowly catching up with bills. Mostly. And while I should have upgraded my rig, by day 15 I felt I had to splurge on some amenities that were long overdue. My toilet is here!
Nice.
Now 15 pounds lighter, I was looking at half of the challenge window being gone and a long way to go to my goal. But with the progress I'd made thus far, I finally hit a point where I could apply for partnership. And since the game doesn't really check into any of my actual content, I was approved. With the ability to gain subscribers, I could now access the power usually reserved for only the most elite streamers.
Money.
After running some raffles to buy admiration, not only was I gaining followers hella quick, but even a handful of subs as well. With my extra flexibility, I wanted to try just chatting stream, and that is when I learned that I had a bit of an issue. It seems without even realizing it, I had gained a decent level of average viewers, but with Asmongold's chat.
I know a lot of you out there have a lot of problems.
So while I couldn't afford it, I decided I had to add some mods to make the rest of the challenge more bearable. I was getting ridiculous messages all the time, and some of the worst ones were from subscribers. Fortunately, my newly employed keyboard warriors immediately got to work, and before long I was back to something vaguely tolerable. The next stretch of gameplay involved me continuing to grind out pity donos until I finally got enough to start upgrading my computer.
Well, hello there.
By day 18, I'd upgraded my motherboard, RAM, GPU, and power supply, and even bought some pants. I didn't realize I'd literally been running around in my underwear up to this point. Day 19 was an upgrade to the CPU, more RAM, and a bigger case to shove it all into. And on day 20, I finally activated the most important feature that any big streamer needs: premium ad service. And speaking of premium ads, if you want to support this channel, I have a Patreon where you can help make Alright, fine. Fuck you too. At least like and subscribe. Day 20 finished with upgrading my battle station, and day 21 finished with purchasing the last few upgrades I needed to make my streaming rig truly top of the line. And with no other upgrades to buy for my streaming rig left, I finally was ready to set my sights on the true goal of the challenge: living the rich and lavish lifestyle. The main issue with this is houses are expensive, and I was currently living in a Florida coffin and still riding my bike everywhere. What the fuck? While I knew I needed to save up for a while to make the next jump, that didn't mean I couldn't prepare my retirement in advance. So I drew on my experience as a social media influencer and focused on buying the fake it till you make it components before I moved on up.
A toilet worth an estimated $9.5 million.
In addition to starting my own furniture and utilities warehouse, I also finally got a nice stream cam and did my first stream with a huge face reveal.
Hi.
I also tried some experimental content and some that was actively bad.
Oh! Oh! Yes! Oh, what? Oh, is that good? Is that good? Is that good?
By day 23, I had over 2,000 average viewers and over 2,000 subs, and I had a big payout from Twitch coming. But it still wasn't even close. Unfortunately for me, I was still nowhere near being able to afford the beach villa I had my sights on, so I went for a temporary upgrade that I thought would catapult me across the finish line that loomed only 8 days away. But for now at least, all that was left for me to do was travel to my new house. And I'm here. Similar to the very start of the game,
Get a broom and
I spent the first few minutes cleaning up, immediately went about setting up my streaming rig, and then finally filled in some of the extras I had purchased before the big move. Even though this process had nearly sapped my will to live, I also finished off the day with a quick stream for an important fundraising effort, and then spent basically all of it for the next big step that would come the following day. And with that, I went to bed on day 23, leaving me 1 week left to achieve greatness. The following day, when the hardware showed up, I collected everything and immediately went to set up the new rig. From there, I was able to action the next step, and took my money-making opportunities to the next level.
And it's us, now I'm good, I'm so in love.
While yes, I technically set up a gaming rig for her in my house, cuddling would have to wait, as whether my sweet ooh sugar mama knew it or not, we had work to do. And with my sights set on the luxurious lifestyle of streamer fame, she would just have to resign to the idea that she could fix me and pick a fight about how little time we spend together at our next scheduled hangout meeting next month. And on the last day to go, after scraping and saving as much as possible, after my live-in work partner earning her fair share, after 30 days of grind, the moment finally came. With an ad payment to match my stardom pushing me over the edge, it was time to move location once more, only this time to a spot more suited for a superstar of my caliber. As per usual,
get a broom.
But to shortcut the process, it shaped up in no time at all. And while I now had the fancy home that I had dreamed of, I didn't quite have the ride to match, so we'd have to go ahead and take care of that as well.
You look at this. Gosh, just look at it.
With the house and car secured, there was only one thing left for me to do. Now that I had made it, I had to go back to where it all began. And in that dark hole in the wall where I first cut my teeth, I set up an identical rig to the one that I'd started with, and even went above and beyond by adding in a tub and toilet right off the bat instead of waiting for day 15. And once it was all done, I did what I hoped to do one day myself, and passed the torch on to a new streamer that hadn't yet had their lucky break. So for any streamers out there that have already spent a month or even more trying to succeed but haven't gotten rich and famous yet, keep at it. And until I see you next time, party on.